The red rated chairs.
The red rated chairs.
Well, Red's been known to bust a mini a chair. What you learn about Red is he's got about a bazillion stories. So this is the Holy Grail. Bob's Grandad on it from 29. White colors. This is a tribute. So it has the same, shape and styling and frame type configuration. It's run on a shovel head motor, but it's still a foot clutch, hand shift kind of machine. All the controls are inside of the bars and things. So the flip up fender, so you could change the tire easily. So Bob built that to honor his granddad. And then at one of the shows, and I'm not sure which one it was, Makoto did this painting, and if you look real close, you can see how he does things with chopsticks. So he takes chopsticks, dips it in the paint. Oh, gotcha. You can see where the end of the chopstick would have contacted the canvas, then he just draws it and pulls it out. And then when so on the tires, he sometimes leaves the chopsticks together, so it's double wide, and you can see actually the lines of the double wide chopsticks. Boom, 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 as he's painting that.
Yeah, I need to know the inspiration for who decided, you know what, I think I'm going to paint with chopsticks now.
Oh, he's been doing it. Well, he has a video, and he talks about how he was totally bit by the motorcycle bug, just like all the rest of us, got in his blood, and I think one of the first bike was a Katana that he painted, and then this one is the second Makoto had done. This one was done of this bike. So, this bike was built by, you can see it on the tank, Jesse James. So, Bob was an aftermarket distributor with the Biker's Choice, and Jesse James built him and gave him this bike as a repayment for what Bob did early on, helping him. Bob was the Biker's Choice was the first outfit to carry the West Coast Chopper. The West Coast Chopper hardware, you can see it on this intake. It's really cool, Chase, on this side. West Coast Chopper logo on there. So Jesse took the bikes to Sturgis, took parts to Sturgis. Bob helped him out there, and that helped progress. This is a custom bike Bob made that was a precursor to his involvement with hard bikes. So these are. And then this is kind of the chopper stuff, right? Easy Rider, Easy Rider magazine, kind of the Playboy of the motorcycle arena. Different magazines that had featured this bike. And then this is just kind of a variety of different events and activities with bikes. That happens to be a portrait that the Bell folks commissioned and did for me. That was, man, 30 years ago, that picture. Oh my God, I feel like I'm getting old. Oh yeah, so anyway, 25 years ago. Dirt bikes, the significance of this to us is that when I was 13, I bought a 1973 Honda Elsinore. Honda Elsinore arguably changed the motocross landscape forever when it was introduced a little over 50 years ago. Two-stroke machine, 1973, it won the AMA Motocross Championship on its first year being out and produced. It was the fastest, meanest, craziest machine out there. I had one, and this is what it looked like after 4 years. And I tell people it's the only motorcycle that put me in the hospital. And then we had one of our acquaintances has this one that's been fully restored to showroom quality. It's a 74 instead of a 72. But just extremely pristine. Another one of the bikes from the vintage, Ozarks Vintage Motorcycle Association. So how many people learned how to ride on one of these little Honda 50s, right? Race bikes, James Simonelli's record-holding drag bike. James first started racing drag bikes when he was in his teens up in the Northeast. He and Bob and the builder of S&S. This is a 145-inch S&S motor. This bike will run in the 9s. But the very unique thing about it was when James Simonelli built it, his purpose was to be able to get on the bike, ride it from his house to the drag strip, street tires, street legal, drag race it all day, and drive it home. And this bike will do about 160 in the quarter mile, and 150 in the quarter mile. He's rode it as far as 110 miles from his house to a race, raced all day, and then rode it home. Not many drag racers do that.
It looks like that. Those pipes look really quiet too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've not heard this one run, but I've heard it. Now this is tribute to Nicky Hayden, Kentucky Kid. So this is a Moto GP winning bike, right? So Moto GP is effectively the Formula One of motorcycle racing, and Aprilia and Ducati traded the championships back and forth in the 90s. One would win for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and the other ones would do the same thing. And the folks with their name on this gas tank said, "Hey, we know a lot about these bikes." It's got the Nicky Hayden tribute to it. Superbike champion in 02, and they won the Moto GP in 07. And the Honda folks said, "You know what? We got to get involved with this." So they built this bike. And this actually, my youngest son Bryce acquired it. And when he said he was going to get rid of it, I said, "No, we got to keep this bike in the family."
Gosh, what Nicky Hayden has been the only American to win the MotoGP since the early 90s.
Well, they called him Kentucky Kid, and in 2017 he was killed in a training accident in Italy. He was riding a pedal bike, got hit by a car and died. Yeah, MotoGP, pretty cool. This is Bob's first race bike. Started life as a 450 Honda. It's now in the 500 range, but Deb, his wife, tells that they've been married for 50 plus years. Tells a story about how she'd go and watch him ride it. So, but again, aftermarket. One of the perspectives too about the Two Wheel Tribute Museum is the OEM may have built your motorcycle, but the aftermarket made it yours. And everybody does something to a motorcycle, whether they change the type of grips you have, if you're on a dirt bike, or you put a different exhaust on it, or if you go to a full-blown customization sequence. Sport bike folks do it, adventure bike folks do it, dirt bike folks do it, the Harley crowd, the Indian crowd, they all do it, continually doing things to make them yours. This is a 1973 FLH, was featured on the cover of Ironworks. Up here, some Bob's memorabilia. The bike shop they had, that they run the distributorship out of, would get these are from 1980 AMF sales brochures, with bikes in different settings. Here's looks like some downtown Deadwood or something, and here's out in the Rockies, and another one riding through the mountains, a desert. Oh, this is a desert. This is maybe Vegas with big buildings in the background. So, just a wide variety of stuff. Both of these bikes have a link to the movie world with James Dean. This in Brooklyn Nights, he's sitting on an 850 Triumph like this, and this one's a Survivor. So Bob brought this up to the museum. Original paint, original control and gauges. The thing was purchased and kind of set and just aged in a very gentle way. And then this one was purchased and then aged in a little more challenging way. This is a 1965 Allstate, which you bought from Sears and Roebuck in the catalog. This is a two-stroke. You put the oil on one side, gas on the other. And the reason it's here is, one, Gary gave it to us, and then two, in James Dean's movie Rebel Without a Cause, he's sitting on one of these, trying to do what he does, to persuade women that he's a really great guy. James Dean in the movies. Steve McQueen. This bike, are you familiar with this, Chase? Background on it?
The Cub?
Yeah.
Yeah. The best-selling motorcycle of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Of all time, exactly. So in 2019, they passed over 100 million units of this motorcycle sold. This is a 1963 50 that was restored. But the 50, 70, 90, a 100, 125 series of these Cubs, and they still make them today. John Faster has a new one.
Yeah. That's what I was telling her. I believe they started the "You Meet the Nicest People on a Honda" campaign with the Cub because they were trying to get normal people onto motorcycles instead of just bikers.
Right. Well, and you know that we have a philosophy that, and if you listen, I talk about motorcycles and motorcycles because it can be all different kinds of motorcycles. It can be all different kinds of things that have brought you into it. Most of us, you know, started on something other than a Harley Davidson. Most of us started on something else. And we own Ducatis here as a Biker's Garage. We own Yamahas, Hondas, of course, Harley Davidsons. You know, we've owned a wide variety of motorcycles, and we were bitten by the motorcycle bug. And the thing that's significant to us is riding, the experiences. At the end of the day, it's not the destination, it's a journey, and all the stories come from the journey.